Good morning, everybody. It's Marty the JavaScript Party and my buddy Rhett. Here she is right there in all her glory. So we are just deep in a rabbit hole right now. I'm trying to basically take a table that I had in this concept of the app data layout, which is like my data layout for the whole application. So, like, uh, it's it's this guy right here. So basically, right now, if I add a new row, add a visualization, we can see all the visualization stuff. And so basically what I have right now is like what I sort of um, migrating from is having all this in one component at the top, and I'm splitting it out into two smaller components, one that is a filter and drop down, and the other is the actual table. And then I'll be able to add a new component called three. And I will say that last Sunday, I believe, I thought that I would be able to just move all this stuff into a new component. It would take 10 minutes tops. Today is Thursday. No, today is Friday, the 15th, May 15th, Friday. Friday. It's Friday, May 15th. And I still don't have it done. And I'm pretty sure I spent over an hour on Sunday on it. And I honestly thought it was a 10-minute task. It happens all the time. Um, it drives my boss nuts because he'll be like, "Oh, that's gonna take you like an hour or something," and I'm like, "I don't know." Now, I will say many times he's right. Like it does take me less than an hour. It takes me like an hour, um, but sometimes, I'm right. I mean, it's so hard to tell. So darn hard. All right, so in here right now, so it looks like we are in the migration process. If I remember correctly, we have let's see, we have this effect count because I was trying to understand when the effect gets fired. And it gets fired because I have this hash of this table. So anytime the table modifies in any way, uh, I publish a signal called hash IDs, and I don't know if this is a like an undocumented feature that won't be around, that isn't guaranteed to be around or not, but then I can go and it'll get all the latest data. So the problem is that like if you just publish the array or the dictionary, then you have to do something in order to make the application know that there was actually a change. But the problem is that sometimes you might do things that don't actually change the table, but then your code automatically forces a new redraw. So this general idea is that this hash is a string. So if it changes, I'll be able to publish it and the system will pick up that it changed because the string is a primitive, right? So that's just a bunch of sort of factoids that I haven't been able to kind of construct in a very um, good way yet at this point. But basically, the hash is calculated based on all the data in this table. So if the data changes in this table, the hash can get recalculated. But if something that could potentially change the data in this table happens, then the hash fires. And if it's the same, then then the hash stays the same. You publish the same hash. The system recognizes that you're just trying to set the hash to what it was before, and it doesn't kick off anything. That's my theory, anyways. And then on the other side, if it does change, then something changes. One little value in here, let's say st side goes to one or something, and then um, the hash will change, and that causes everything. So basically, it's trying to sort of meet the difference between like always just eagerly telling it to redraw everything all the time, whether there's a change or not. And on the other side, um, not missing changes because it didn't actually change the table. Anyways, I don't know. I'm still working on trying. I understand it. I can't speak to it very well though. But anyway, so now we have our visualization of service. And if I remember correctly, we have like a transformation. Well, let me hit back again. Let's look before I do that. And I have, yeah, my table records, which is empty by default, right? So now in the entity, I do this table data needs to get generated from this dictionary. But the dictionary, as you see, is just like a object keys and values, but we really just want the values to be um, there. But we do want to transform. We do have a function over here that will transform it. See table transform and pass the whole dictionary into it, and then it returns that. And I think I want the table transform functionality to be inside of um, the service, not inside of the um, not inside of the component. And really, the only reason is because I want, since I have it, that's a great place to put. If I didn't have it, like if I didn't already have a service, I would just do it in the component because it's not that big and not that much, and very unlikely that I'm ever going to want this transform anywhere else. I mean, I might though, but um, but I'm putting it at this service that's at this level anyways. So it's not even a service that's available to throughout the entire application. I mean, it is technically available throughout the application because it's this provided in root, but so let's see. I believe this was a pure function that just accepts and returns stuff. Yeah. So the only problem here is that we need to bring in some interfaces. And when you see this blue thing, that means it probably knows where it's bringing it from. So you click on this and it's saying, hey, yeah, I'm bringing in this in from interfaces based dictionaries. That looks very familiar to me. This is also another interface that's also coming from base dictionary. And here's a third interface, and this is coming from base dictionaries. All right, so if we look up here, we can see that. I don't know why we have this single, but these are the three interfaces we brought in. I'm going to kind of make them like this. And it did it based on just when I did it. I don't think it did like alphabetical order or anything like that. So alphabetical order, I will say that people who speak Spanish or in the Spanish language, the way they tend to put um, like we'll say, oh, this is a ST filter, this is a three filter, this is a blah, blah, blah. They'll be like, oh, this is a filter of the threes, this is a filter of the STs, this is the filter. And boy, does that really pay off when you put things in alphabetical order, because then all your filters are together, because it's based on the first letter of the first word. Um, Whereas the way we do it in English, it's the most important word is typically like what it actually is typically the last word, so it doesn't flow um, very well in alphabetical order, which is always very confusing to Spanish speakers that we don't put things in alphabetical order, but there's really no reason to put things in alphabetical order for English speakers. Um, it's just one of those weird, funny things about the structure of the language, just sort of changing the way things are. Let's see, two, it looks like we have an extra space there. And then, so now we have our transform table, and it takes a whole dictionary and it returns an array, an ST entity table record. So, oh, that's my entity service. Oh, that's so funny. So I'm a little confused on why this is. What is going on? Entity table component. I thought this was in, maybe, you know what? I bet, oh, wow. How crazy is this? Okay, so Something seems. I don't think this is supposed to be here. Filtered. Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna go with it for the moment. For some reason, I thought this was living inside of here, but maybe not. So I have table records here. And then I also have table records in my entity service. Which one would I think I and does this thing does publish the filter value. I feel like this should publish the table records. So let's do this. Is that funny, Rhett? See, because we have the filtered. Okay, I like the way I was doing this. So basically, all the table records. Okay, so table records come from the animate or from the utility, the sequence. Um, okay, so okay, so now I'm wondering. Okay, what? Okay, so I think all of this stuff already is a signal that's coming from a different system. It's just like adding this layer. I don't think this is a good idea to add this layer here. I might be wrong, but now the problem is that okay, this is the filtered table records. So this is what we actually show. What is the okay? Entity table. Okay, so filtered records. I bet you I'm doing it from here. Entity filter. Okay, so that's the filter value, but not the filtered records. All right. I don't know. I don't think we want. This is a hard one because we don't. Do we want it here in this service, or do we want it here? I think we don't want this one. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this one. Let me do this just for now. I think it's going to break something over here. Yeah. So what we want are entity service. And I don't even think we want this. I think we actually want it to be a signal. And the biggest reason I want it to be a signal is just because I find that it's much less likely um, to mess up. I mean, it's less likely to get that weird console error that says like data changed before it could be updated or whatever. Like that is the I find that almost never happens. If I don't know that it ever happens if you're using signals directly in your template. Like they have that just rock solid. But the thing that the entity knows, what does the component knows one thing, it knows it exists. That's it. And it knows that it's running and it has an effect. And so this effect hash will fire and then all that data will change. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little confused at the moment. So do we need this sequence dictionary? Okay, does this guy have a copy of the sequence dictionary? Okay, so actually, let's just kind of go. So table records needs to get created. Hmm. Hmm. hmm, hmm, hmm. So I don't, okay, yeah, I'm getting a little overwhelmed. And the reason I'm getting a little overwhelmed at the moment is because like I'm having a hard time with the abstractions between the publisher service. So the publisher service is the one that knows that the visualization has changed. So and then the service is handling these filter changes. Some other service is handling these entity changes, which probably should not be getting handled in that other service. However, that's getting handled. We probably need to redo that so that that's happening the same way that the filter is happening. Um, and then since we already have the entity service, is this, it feels like this is the thing that would tell it to update the table. So let's try to create a function in entity service called update table data, right? Because this has the table data. The actual dictionary comes from outside of here, but the table data. Okay, so this update table data will accept a sequence dictionary. Now, right now, all of my spider tingle senses are going off because it's um, like this is going to be tricky for unit testing. Um, true. Okay, so this thing is just return true or false, and it's just going to update this table. Records equals this dot transform, table transform, and then sequence dictionary. All right, so that should, and then I think we should fire this off. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. We're in a weird, this is a weird weird situation. I don't feel like I've ever been in before, which is actually very exciting. Okay, so I'm going to pass it the sequence dictionary. This dot entity service dot update table data. Now, okay, so one thing that's kind of rattling around in my brain right now is like, should I just be like, should I have the effect running in the service and then just have the service connected up here? Or and I don't even know if that is possible. I would assume you can have an effect inside of a service, but I don't know that for sure. But I don't know. This feels a bit roundabout. Like I'm coming down here with the sequence service that I'm getting from the publisher visualization service and handing it to there. But like the component is the one that knows it exists. And I don't know if that's like just for me, like thinking on my own, or if it's um or if it's real. Like if because who knows what's happening in the transpile when it transpiles, everything might just be all jammed together anyways. I don't know. There's just no telling what that transpiled code looks like. But theoretically, anytime there's a change to the hash, it should then take the sequence dictionary and pass it to that. And I don't know, maybe we don't even need, you know what? I think it makes more sense to pass it this and probably not even have a sequence dictionary in here. Like, why does this even need to know of the existence of a concept of a sequence dictionary, right? All it cares about is tables. All right, so I guess that's done. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I feel like everything I wanted to happen happened. We did get an effect count of 3, which we were not getting that. So the effect is firing more often now. Um, it'll actually be really interesting to watch that because what I don't want to get is some sort of like infinite loop, which I can't even imagine right now. But um, and honestly, this won't even care about whether something's filtered or not. Like it just wants to know what records to show. Um, but all right, so now I want to get rid of this sequence dictionary. I don't think I want that over here. Okay, so I think that is what we're showing down here, right? Sequence dictionary. Now, does the entity service have a sequence dictionary as well? Okay, so let's do that. Let's call this yeah, I think I should get rid of this sequence dictionary. See, my table record counts 7, so actually I feel like we might have outgrown the sequence dictionary altogether. Like I said, this table probably shouldn't even know of the concept of a sequence dictionary. And it probably shouldn't even know of the concept of filtering. It should literally just know how to draw the table, which I think is a massive improvement over the old. Yeah, so we have our table now. So, but what we really want is the filtered table. So I don't think we have the filtering done yet. So we're getting our table. And I mean, I guess, yeah, I'm just gonna, oh, filtered table records. Oh, so I do have a filtered table. Filtered table records. But I'm not. Okay, so this is setting the filter. Okay, so here's where we should probably apply the filter. And I cannot remember how we applied the filter before. Apply user filter. So I think we probably want to copy this whole thing over, but I don't think data source exists in our service. Should the data source even exist in our service? Probably not. I guess right here would be a good place. So instead of data source, we want to call this filtered table record. And then we'll probably try to connect the data source directly to this inside of the um, inside of the okay. Ooh, okay, so the filter actually, okay, so this actually needs to go. Okay, so the mat data source type does have the filter built into it. And we already have the filter value. So I think we can easily do that. Oh, I guess, yeah, I guess that's right. Okay, so apply user filter. So I guess, yeah, that won't even happen here because I think yeah. So I don't think that the table should know how to do a filter, but apparently the table will know how to do that. So let's give myself just a little bit of a heads up tomorrow. Um, and let's just create a data source. This is what we need. And I don't think that the service should know anything about tables. So, so yeah, we're kind of like that. I don't know if you've heard the phrase pick your poison, but that's kind of what we're doing here. We're like saying, hey, there's things that like the table probably shouldn't know about filtering, but the the service shouldn't know about um, shouldn't know about data tables. So okay, so this is that. So basically, this dot table records. All right. Okay, so and I guess we're gonna set this. I don't know. This is weird. This dot table. I mean table records, which is an st entity table record. I think we had that to begin with. Okay, what's the problem? Oh, maybe we don't need to do that because. All right. Am I already creating one? That's my guess, is that I've already created one. Oops. That's records. I don't know why it is why I had a single. There we go. And then I probably needed this. There we go. All right. Happy coding, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye.